Can't believe I have not seen y'all since last year. I just thought of that. I'm so sorry. I've missed y'all. I hope that y'all are doing well. So Monday, obviously, I actually have family in town right now, so we were spending some time together. But we're gonna do something feral today. We're just moving it over, and I'm thinking purple. It's been a long time since I have done purple. This color is so pretty, but I want to use it as a lid color. And I talk about pigments a lot and how stable some are, how delicate some are. Purple can be a lot more delicate in terms of a pigment. That being said, this is going to be really, really, really easy because when it's in a liquid form, it's a little bit more pliable. It's a little tougher. So we can't really overblend it, but I wanted to carve out my lid with this. So we're not there yet, but I got excited because this color is just absolutely beautiful. That's a really nice, I believe Barney's Belly was that shade. So purple pigments, they tend to stain. It's what they do. If you've ever done a purple eyeshadow look and then you've taken it off and then your eyes look extremely pink, it's happened. So I like to use a very small amount of calamine lotion all over the lid, and we're gonna let this completely dry. Even with eyeshadow base, even my thick, clean canvas, which is what I'm gonna use, I still sometimes have staining, and the palette I'm gonna use definitely is gonna stain. And a lot of the times that's why purple shadows, red shadows, they're considered not eye safe. There's other reasons. I would love for you to research that. But one of the reasons is staining and of course irritation. But that's why some pigments say that they are not eye safe, is because of the staining. So this helps. This helps with red face paint. Now that that's completely dry, we're gonna go in with some clean canvas. And if you've ever had staining, the calamine lotion works. I can't, so y'all remember I film multiple things a day, and a lot of times I can't have staining. Who wants staining? So that has worked for me like a charm. I'm just taking this, and we're using clean canvas in the shade Fair. And at one time I thought that clean canvas would have been enough of a barrier, but the shadow kind of absorbs into it, which is what we want it to do. That we want that shadow to absorb into the eyeshadow base, but it would still stain, but this isn't going to stain now. It's a game changer, I'm telling y'all. If this can stand up to MAC red face paint, it can definitely stand up to the eyeshadow. By the way, the brush I'm using right now is our C31, and we actually have this little concealer duo right now. That being said, this one I love, especially if you have fine lines. I know a lot of us, we feel that we need something big and just get in there and fast, but sometimes that might be why we're having creasing, and that's the whole reason I designed a very tiny dedicated concealer brush, and that's the C31, the one you're seeing here. The tinier the brush, the more control you have. You're able to really get in there and work around those fine lines. You would be surprised. A larger brush, sometimes it just doesn't get in there. Even if the brush isn't huge, I'm talking just really anything bigger than this. This was very well thought out because I myself have my fine lines. That being said, this one is an amazing precision concealer brush. Obviously, we're used to that. But if you have not tried this brush for shimmer shadows, you're missing out, because yes, we can use our fingertip, but we might not have that same precision. You get precision with this one. So I wanted to let you know about that. And also this brush is very dense. That way we get more coverage. Anytime you have a very dense brush, that means you're going to get the most coverage. And this one with the concealer, the NARS Pot Concealer, oh my gosh. Okay, we got some full coverage eyeshadow base now. So the palette I chose today was my Norvina palette. I haven't used this one in 100 years, but I remember loving it. This is a pressed pigment palette. I'm not going to bore y'all, but think of this the same way we talked about the subculture. And those are a little bit more tricky to work with, so we definitely want to press. We're going to pick this shade up on the side of our E27, and we want to use an E27 because I want a little bit more control. Tiny brush, more control. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. We're going to take that, and I'm just going to start to press it in our upper crease. Look at the pigment. It is a pressed pigment palette, but it's so good. I haven't used it in a long time. This color would already be staining me if I didn't have that calamine on. I'm gonna pick up some more. Doo-doo. That was 2 taps in. And I'm just gonna continue to bring it over a little bit more. I'm trying to decide. I kind of want to use a whole slew of purples. Now I'm gonna wipe off the E27, just a little bit. It didn't have to be perfectly clean. I just didn't want a whole bunch of saturated color on the side of it. And then let's switch over into this shade. Let's grab it on the side. And then I'm going to head over this way towards the outer part of the eye. This is the type of purple that stains. Ooh, I just know it. But look how pretty that ombre is gonna be. Maybe we should even put a darker one on the outer part. We should. We're just having fun. It's Feral Monday, move to Tuesday. And really quickly, if you ever feel stuck in a rut with your eyeshadow, use your absolute favorite colors. Don't worry about branching out into this crazy purple situation that I'm about to do, but just switch your brush. If you use a brush shaped like this, usually, just switch and do that entire eyeshadow look. Your favorite eyeshadow look, just do it with a tinier brush instead. Or if you use a tinier brush, switch to a larger brush. It's a really fun way to kind of just branch out. So now, we gotta readjust in our chair. Whew. We're having fun. Let's go into this shade. We're gonna grab that on the tip of the brush, and that is going to complete this outer part. We're still gonna transition this, obviously, but I thought we'd do the darker shade on the outer part. Man, this really feels like my wild looks from 2019 and 2020. I used to do some doozies, y'all. But then I felt that I was just doing it more for myself and it wasn't as helpful because every look was something like this. But my makeup art was very happy at that time. But I kind of go back and forth because yes, as an artist, I just love to be super expressive and wild with my looks. But then the other part of me, I just love helping. So I'm gonna try to just do a few more looks like this year, but always the main thing is helping you. And then what we're gonna do is don't be afraid to go back into the very first colors that we used. I'm wiping off my brush on Sheila. I remember the very first light purple, the one towards the front. Go ahead and just tap that. Make sure that it's melting into that second color. Grab the second color that we used, kind of do the same thing, and so on and so forth. Now, wipe the brush off on Sheila. Say hi to Sheila. She's looking really nice and used here. Lots of makeup left. Okay, for this part, we do want to just kind of go back and forth a couple times, a little more. We want to make sure we don't have any pigment on there. Okay, we're good to go. We are good to go. Now, let's grab, I'm gonna grab this shade. Grab it on the side of the brush. So at first, we want to transition with a tiny brush. Really take your time, and that's gonna go right above all of these shades. See how it's starting to kind of melt into the first shade? Take your time. This is definitely, we're not gonna call this a 5-minute look. So I'm gonna get comfortable here and chat with y'all. I'm really gonna take my time to transition this. I'm gonna show you a few more tricks to kind of clean up here, kind of get that back under control. We're gonna use eyeshadow, but I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna use it, why, and all that good stuff. In this new year, I feel like we always focus on the why, but I really, really want to focus on the why. Say, why am I even using the side of the brush? Because I'm able to really transition and I'm really pushing that shadow into the base. And you get a very, very soft, even transition, but you're also able to set that eyeshadow base. So 2024 is all about the why. Why are we doing that? Why am I holding the brush very far back? Because I need more control. So I'm just gonna keep pressing till we're transition here. So while I have you here, I just got one of the biggest questions. I get it a lot. So whenever I do makeup, unless I'm dropping something or throwing something, you don't hear. And the reason why is because I know exactly how much I want to pick up in here. You used to see a lot on YouTube, a lot of digging. I don't want to do it. I just did an example video and sent it to one of y'all. But I'm very precise on how much I pick up. So I knew that 2 little swipes in there is plenty. Also, by doing that, you're picking up that product more evenly on your brush instead of digging and then it not being even. And then by the time we're tapping it off, we've tapped it all away. So if we're just a little bit more mindful and delicate on how we pick up that product, you're gonna have a more even blend. Happy New Year. All right, so remember what I was talking about? That blur that we were gonna do. So what we're gonna do is take a very tiny amount. I did switch brushes and we want a bigger brush right now. The fluffier the brush, the more diffused. And we have a very small amount. In fact, that might be a little bit too much. And when I want to kind of just take a little bit off, I still won't tap. And the reason why is because that might not make it even. So by pushing it the way I just did with the palm of my hand, that's so much better. So we're gonna start here in the center. Okay, focus most of it on the brow, then blur it lightly over this way, and then blur it lightly over this way. So yes, we could have left the lid space without that very first base, but sometimes you just don't know where the look is gonna go. So I always coat the entire lid, but we can take some, and yes, this is gonna remove the calamine lotion, but this does not stain. So I've had it on my hand, and then let me grab, I'm gonna show you that this one doesn't stain. So we know I've had this on my hand that entire time. Whew, see, it's hard to get off. This is just Sheila and some micellar water. This better not run out of time here. Oh, there you go. See, so that's not going to stain. If you're seeing residue, I just didn't get it off completely, but it doesn't stain. It's hard to get off, but that's good. We want that on our eye. So again, we're not gonna have to worry about the calamine lotion on this side. We wanna clean up the lid space. We don't want to put that liquid shadow on top of a wet base like this. It's going to change that formula and then it won't be hard to get off. It'll come right off. It'll become chaos. All right, so remember our eye paint that we had. So I'm just going to throw it on my lid first. But notice I'm not taking it towards the actual crease yet. We definitely need a brush for precision there. And then that eyeshadow kind of blocks it. It's kind of created a dam in a sense. It's got this little blockade there where we can go over it, but the brush can kind of feel it. So it doesn't go all the way over it. Don't worry about that. We got to tap that. That's why tapping is so important. But right now we got to get this all the way up to, oh, hair. All the way up to the crease. Now I thought it'd be fun just to put this all over my eye. This is the new Fenty liner. Sure. Then I'll just go back in and perfect that line. Why not? And then I gotta get closer. Me and my astigmatism, we stay fighting. So we need a duochrome dusting. We need it. We have to have it, especially on the lid. But I am going to finish up with this purple liner. I'm down here in the bushes today. I don't know what's going on. So let's just finish this off. And then we're gonna do a nice dusting of one of my Carla Cosmetics pigments. I'm not sure which one yet. I'm gonna go investigate as soon as I'm done here. So I grabbed this. I think this is my favorite pressed pigment. Look at this flip. Ooh, isn't that pretty? This one's from Carla Cosmetics and the shade is called Nightgown. So I picked it up on a fluffier brush and I'm gonna apply it all over my lid. But I'm gonna stop at that kind of floating liner situation. And I'm gonna go all over. And the reason we're using that fluffier brush is so we don't just completely cover the purple. It can be very pigmented. See, I'll show you with my finger. See how you cannot see my skin through that? It can really do that. But that would be a C30 application if we wanted it like that. We're gonna do these lashes. These are from Raquel Beauty. The style is New Moon. They're very, very wispy, very long. And I thought they'd be fun because they wouldn't hide all the fun we got going on our lid. So I'm really happy that we're heading into a peachier blush moment. And the reason why is because I'm already going to start on my blush complexion. By now, most of us know that a peach going over into orange, depending on your skin tone, that's going to act as a color corrector. It's going to cancel out any darkness under the eye. And even though I don't have a lot of darkness underneath my eye, I'm actually going to get a lot of brightness later. So we're already going to go ahead and do our blush moment. I'm going to use this lighter shade. And I tried the formula yesterday, which is on my page. It's a very dewy formula. So underneath my eye, this is going to be beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and start to blush already. Isn't this fun? That's honestly a very beautiful color corrector shade for me. I'm excited for the peachy blush moment. So remember, we want the C31 for this kind of situation. And when I say this kind of situation, I mean closer to the eye where I have these fine lines. This, even if you have smile lines, if you have any kind of fine lines, you want a small brush. Now, could you switch to a bigger brush to speed up the process in a second? Yes. But when we're working product in around these smaller areas, even in here, we want a small brush. You're going to have less creasing, period. By the way, I'm just feeling of it. This texture for the under eye is so nice. And look at the difference of it blended in. And just that little bit is going to create just a more even canvas layer for that concealer we're going to put on top. Listen, the brand of concealer that I've been using and absolutely loving, it launched. I don't know if y'all saw it, but I still don't know if I can talk about it. So I need to figure that out. I will find out and we will know by tomorrow. I'm gonna figure that out today. I'm gonna grab my C42 just to blend all that out. We got our pre-blush. I'm gonna use my NARS blush too because this one is a little too light for my skin tone, but it's perfect as a corrector and a pre-blush. If you have issues with your blush fading, this technique, it's a good one. All right, let's get this going. Always shake up your foundation, no matter what brand it is. If it's a liquid, give it a shake. Obviously, if it's a cream, that doesn't matter as much. But if you have a liquid in a bottle like this, give it a nice shake. Let's get this on. Can go around that. And if you don't like to use your fingers to apply it, just grab a makeup spatula. You can get those on Amazon. There we go. Let's get our C42 there. And you can see that blush still coming through a little bit. Perfect. I like the e.l.f. blushes a lot, and one of the reasons I like them is because they're not wildly pigmented, but I have a deeper shade and it's still really nice and pigmented for deeper skin tones. So I'm really enjoying them. I think I want to film a back camera video. This is front camera. I'm just filming selfie mode on inside IG. But I want to film a back camera HD video so you can see that this brush, it will not leave streaks. It just won't. It refuses. Look at how it just melts it into the skin. Even application. I'm going to pick up a little bit more and put it there. I want some more coverage. I need to grab some more foundation. And even foundation means longer wearing foundation. This is that concealer, but again, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to tell you in the next 2 days. I probably could already, but it's just best to double check and make sure I don't give out any secrets and then go to makeup gel. If you are really into what's going on in beauty right now, I'm going to give you a hint and just say it's super important to have your perfect undertone in concealer. That's all I can say. Now, I think I've talked about this before, but I'm going to chat with y'all again about it. This particular shade, and then the shade Exhibit A for deeper skin tones, this formula is just, it's the formula of a super pigmented, almost a powder foundation, but a blush. So a blush foundation. I can't quite describe it any better than that. I will try to get my words, better words for it. But I am able to set with it right now with super wet foundation, super wet concealer. And it is so smooth and so beautiful with the C41. I cannot get enough of this shade. Doing it this way. Now, I don't want you to feel that you can go and do this with all shades, because this is a very specific soft matte. It reminds me of a powder foundation and how you can set with a powder foundation. I just feel like this, if I could dupe this, remember, I'm still trying. I can dupe the color. I cannot dupe this formula quite yet. But this blush is going to be, this and Exhibit A are going to be the blushes of the year. I know they're going to be. It's 2024 and I still haven't found a powder that I reach for more than my Givenchy. Can't find one. This is the one I always go back to. I have other ones that I love, but they're just very, very, very pink. This is just the perfect one to brighten and not give me a pink under eye, which I love the pink under eye, but that's not what I want today. Oh, and if you wear more than 1, 2, 3 little dots of concealer, try setting with a puff. Don't set with a brush. I tried to set with a brush back when I would wear more than 3 dots. If you just wear the tiniest amount of concealer, and when I say dots, I mean very small dots. I don't want to waste any concealer, but just a little, but any more than that, a puff just sets evenly all at once, and it's able to work that powder into the fine lines, into smile lines, just to anywhere that might crease. A puff is just where it's at, please. I didn't invent the puff. The puff has been around for 1,000 years, but it's used by pros for a reason. Please, a puff. Don't even have to be my puff. Just please, please use a puff. So I'm going to take some powder foundation. This brush is a prototype. And I'm just going to press this in, but you'll notice that this brush isn't quite as dense. So it's not going to build a ton of coverage, but it's going to give us a hair of coverage. I'm also kind of liking the way that it's shaped. It's just kind of going in there. I like testing out new brushes with y'all. Nice. It didn't flatten me out too much, but I got a little bit more coverage. I think I'm going to go for a cooler shape today. This one is extremely cool, so that'd be really true contour, but this one has just a hair more warmth. This is from Kaleidos. I want to get more things from them, but I didn't want to go too red or too orange, so I'm just going to stay a little bit more cool neutral. So that's where we're at there. Perfect. Just wanted a hair shape, but not just a completely gray situation. Oh, in terms of how I would gauge this is the color that we could still wear out in public and it wouldn't just look like a shadow on our skin, on my skin tone. And they do have deeper shades in this, but I'm using shade light. Yep. And we're using our C40 because we want this diffused just a little bit. A little on the sides of my nose and underneath, not quite the tip, just under there. Just for a little bit of shape. So I have this idea of purple obviously on the waterline and then it connecting and fading down and just gradually transitioning into kind of a transparent see-through purple highlighter. By the way, I absolutely love Mario's new lipsticks. And you're thinking, Rose, they're just lipsticks. I promise you there's some innovation. Remember, makeup, it's makeup science, so there's going to be advancements. It's fun. That's why makeup is so interesting to me. So yes, this is a lipstick, but it's a very pigmented satin. It's so pigmented, and this level of pigment that's in this at one time would have been very drying on the lips. It would have felt very uncomfortable. These feel almost like I don't want to say lip balm because they're not quite as slidey. Satin is right in between that matte and that very glossy, dewy look. So I just think there's some innovation here, and I just love the colors. And I actually want to wear Bronx Baby today. I think it's my favorite one. That one and South Shore are my favorites. So Bronx Baby. I'm actually going to let this slide finish. I'm going to use my Milk Chocolate lip liner. This one's also from Mario. And then we'll finish up our lash line. I'm going to overcomplicate our lash line because it's fun to me. Also, y'all normally don't love when I wear brownie colored lip liners, but I love them so much. And I would love whatever you wore. So I want to cool the lip down a little bit more. So I'm going to put some blue gloss here on the back of my hand. I already have a little bit there, but I needed some more of it. Some blue gloss. You're going, what? Well, some of y'all aren't. Some of y'all have been with me and you know what's going on here. Blue is going to cool these warmer tones. It got a little too warm for where I wanted to go. So all we had to do is add some blue. You're welcome for that rhyme. Look at how much that cooled it down. And that, compared to that, it's not scary. These are milky, they're almost transparent. And obviously, as soon as I rub my lips together, which I will do after I get all of the blue on, but you can see how much cooler that is than that, and it's just amazing. You gotta have a blue gloss. You got to. Now it's just so much more beige. I love it. All right, moving on. All right, let's get this going. So we're gonna go in first with, do you see that attack on my eye? That was an absolute assault. So we're gonna go in with our melt pencil. We got it. Ready? Okay, but we gotta let this completely dry. I'm just bringing it out of the lash line, just a smidgel. Just a hair, as I like to say. I'll do the top too. Okay, good enough. So we're using this black liner as a base. That's what's happening. But we have to wait for it to dry or it's just gonna mix it into our next product. We're not there yet. It's crossing my leg so it can fall asleep. Now, we're gonna use this Danessa Myricks kind of duochrome eyeliner. And why did we use a black base? So this stands out even more. It's proven makeup artistry. So now I'm using the shade Lilac Quartz, and that's going right under and a little bit into that first shade, but we're bringing this really far down. Remember, we're gonna start to connect this. And by connect, I mean we're gonna do a purple highlighter. So this is our next shade. Now we're gonna take this shade. This is called Dolly, also from Curly Cosmetics. And we're gonna take that really close to the lash line. Isn't that fun? So pretty. And then we're gonna take a fluffier brush and just diffuse the edges and have a purple highlighter. I love it. There you have it. Some purple eye makeup on a Tuesday. I love doing these types of looks. And a lot of you did DM me and say that even when I do these looks that you might not wear, you're still learning so much from the technique. I feel when we do a more intricate look, there's so much technique that goes into it that you're able to really have things click sometimes. So thank you for letting me do them. I'm glad that you can find them helpful. That's going to be it for today, but I do want to say this. There's a lot of expectation that comes around with January 1st, and I just don't want y'all to feel any pressure because sometimes I put that pressure on myself and I don't want to feel that this year, so I'm not. And if you don't want to feel it, you don't have to. But if it motivates you, I love that too. And I love you all so much. I'll be posting tonight, so I'll see you there in the comments.